All right, so today we are going to start talking about photosynthesis, and we're going to begin with light. So our objectives for these photosynthesis lessons are to describe how energy is transferred from light energy to chemical energy, and to be able to identify reactants and products of photosynthesis. So we had left off talking about cellular respiration and how that was how we took food and turned it into energy. We began that discussion by talking about how we eat our food and that plants make their food with photosynthesis. So this is the process by which plants are going to make their food, and they are going to use the energy from the sun to do that. So as you can see here, I've drawn my sun, and sun's rays come in the form of waves. And the point from the top of each wave is called a wavelength. And you can have waves where the lengths are very short so that the waves are very close together. So these are going to be your high energy waves. And then if you have them way long, then these are going to be your low energy waves. And of course, there's everything in between short and long, right? And so all the waves make up an electromagnetic spectrum. So the electromagnetic spectrum can have these really high energy short waves that are pretty dangerous to us. So we try and stay away from those, all the way to radio waves, which are very long, frequent or long wavelengths, but low energy. And somewhere in the middle is the visible light. And visible light, and sometimes I draw like a little pretend rainbow here so that I know it's Roy G. Biv. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. And these are the colors that we see. Now, what we see is what is reflected. So the light we see, so if we see green, what's being absorbed is like red, blue, yellow, all those other colors. Right? And we are getting green reflected back to us. Now, wavelengths are made up of little packages of electrons. That's my little, like a Christmas package. Little package of electrons called photons. And these electrons are full of energy, and we are going to make use of those to make food for the plant. All right, so first we're going to start off looking at a leaf, and inside the leaf is a bunch of plant cells. Inside the plant cells, you're going to find an organelle called the chloroplast. Within the chloroplast, you're going to have a stack of pancake-looking things called a grana. And then one pancake is what we're going to focus in on, one of the big pancakes. And those big pancakes are called thylakoids. Now, inside the pancake, you're going to have two big areas where you're going to have a lot of chlorophyll, and these are photosystems. So this is photosystem 2. And this is photosystem 1. And they're named backwards because they were discovered backwards. Photosystem 1. Inside each photosystem, we have some chlorophyll. And chlorophyll is a pigment that reflects green. That's why most of the time we see green plants and green leaves. Now, to kick this whole thing off, we need two important things. The first thing we need is we need light waves from the sun. The second thing we need is we need some water, and we can get the water from the atmosphere. We can get the water from our roots because we're a tree. And what happens is the light, the photons in the light are going to actually break this water into hydrogen, electrons, and oxygen. The oxygen is going to be, if we could say, breathed out into the atmosphere, or they're going to release that oxygen into the atmosphere. Now, the electrons that we got from splitting water are very excited by the light, and they go bouncing down this protein chain, just like the electron transport chain in cellular respiration. And when they do that, just like in cellular respiration electron transport chain, the hydrogen ions come in. Okay? And just like in electron transport, these hydrogen ions diffuse through ATP synthase and make ATP. Again, by adding a phosphate to ADP. We went through that before. And again, the electron here is tired. This guy. Now, in the electron transport chain, we have oxygen come and accept this and turn into water, but we're not going to do that here. We're actually going to be able to take the sun and re-energize this electron. And when we do, we have a high energy compound called NADP. And we are going to use the energy from that electron to convert it to NADPH. And this is, again, remember, these, we can just say high energy compound. But we are going to take that energy from that electron and we are going to create NADPH. Now, this is all very, very familiar because it is very similar to the electron transport chain. So this is known as the light reaction. So I'm just going to scoot this up and over just a little bit. So the light reactions of photosynthesis, we started off with light, obviously from the sun, and some water. And then from that light and water, we got NADPH and ATP. Now notice what we don't have is food. We have energy, but no food. But this is really important because, forgot we released oxygen. I forgot that. We released oxygen out into the atmosphere. That's important. Okay. What we have done is we have created energy, and that energy is going to be used for making food. And that is the next step we will talk about in the next video.